This year, we celebrate 20 amazing years.
And we want to say thank you.
Because of you, we've become innovative, creative, and committed to providing the best customer service in the Bahamas.
Because of you,
we have given back to our community.
We are proud to serve our Bahamas with cable television, the nation's fastest broadband internet, and reliable phone service.
And that's all because of you.
Thank you for inspiring us,
motivating us,
and believing in us.
Thank you.
For 20 years!
Former F&M Senator John Bostwick found guilty of ammunition possession. The National Insurance Board gives insight as to how exactly National Health Insurance registration will work. Damian Gomez's resignation from cabinet, not a good sign for the Christie administration, says the F&M's deputy leader. Plus, debate on the petroleum bill gets underway in Parliament. We've got those stories and a lot more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, former F&M Senator John Bostwick was today found guilty of ammunition possession. Bostwick was arrested at Grand Bahama International Airport after a security screener found 10 bullets in his backpack in 2014. He maintained his innocence, suggesting that numerous people had the opportunity to place the items in his bag. Simone Davis was in court and filed this report.
Bostwick appeared calm as he left the courtroom today, surrounded by family and friends, after learning that he would be convicted for ammunition possession. Magistrate Andrew Forbes notified him that his bail would be extended to January 22nd, when he would return to court for his sentencing. As Magistrate Forbes delivered the ruling this morning, he alerted the court that the document was 16 pages long and said he would not read it in its entirety, but he would only highlight several important details while reviewing the case. The magistrate told Bostwick that his defense to allegations that he had been set up were unconvincing and unbelievable, given that while in custody, he initially told police that the backpack was left unattended in the trunk of a rental car at a resort on Grand Bahama, but the location changed when he was confronted with surveillance footage questioning his alibi. The former F&M senator was arrested on May 17, 2014, after a security screener at Grand Bahama International Airport noticed a magazine that contained 10.22 live rounds of ammunition in his knapsack. He was headed back to New Providence after attending a wedding at the Grand Lucayan Hotel in Freeport. When questioned by police, Bostwick denied knowing that the bullets were in his bag and suggested they might have been placed there when he left. Bostwick then noted that his backpack was left several places unattended during his time on the island and was exposed to tampering on many different occasions. He said he believes he was set up by someone who intentionally wanted to ruin his character and career. Days after he was arrested, Bostwick was granted $9,000 bail after a not guilty plea during his arraignment on May 20th, 2014. Bostwick could face up to 7 years behind bars. He is scheduled back in magistrate's court next month for sentencing. Forbes noted that Bostwick's bail would be extended until then, notwithstanding his conviction. F&M supporters, including the party's chairman Michael Pintard, the Bahamas Bar Association president Ellsworth Johnson, and Bishop Simeon Hall were amongst those who attended the ruling in support of Bostwick.
As we're just 2 weeks away from the phased implementation of national health insurance, the National Insurance Board is giving insight as to how registration will take place. And with many questions still lingering around the new insurance scheme, an aggressive public relations campaign is set to begin. Kyle Joaquin reports.
The National Insurance Board has been tasked with the registration for national health insurance. And during a press conference today at NIB headquarters, NIB Director Rowena Bethel explained how the whole thing should work.
NIB is the government agency that will facilitate the registration for coverage under the National Health Insurance Plan. In preparation for this much-anticipated program, the National Insurance Board will launch an enhanced registration campaign beginning January 2016.
And to be exact, NIB Director Rowena Bethel says January 18th is the day when that aggressive campaign will begin. Now, in order to be covered by NHI, one must have one of NIB's new smart cards. NIB began issuing them in April of 2014 and is hoping to complete the bulk of the remaining registrants, 215,000 people, within the first quarter of next year. But Bethel stressed that anyone without the card won't be covered under the government's new proposed NHI scheme.
No, the card is really what is going to be used to identify those persons eligible for NHI services, and the systems will be built around the ability of recognizing whatever is on the card and with the interfaces with the various databases. So the card is vitally important because it establishes your entitlement to National Health Insurance Services.
6 strategically located registration centers will be set up here in New Providence and will become operational beginning January 18th, 2016. These additional registration locations are situated in the more densely populated areas of the island and will, in addition to the current registration center at the Town Center Mall, provide the full registration service.
Parents won't have to register their school children, as that is expected to be done at schools. NIB will also conduct registration at businesses with over 100 employees. Dr. Raymond Wells, head of IT at NIB, explained just what's on the new smart card.
The chip is large enough to carry all of the government applications to date. It has the ability to carry biometric data, and it also carries information that the NHI system will ultimately use once we put this into a reader.
On Grand Bahama, there are over 25,000 people left to get the new smart card. Government plans to implement NHI in phases beginning January 1st, but there are still many unanswered questions like how much NHI will cost and how it will be funded. Bethel couldn't say whether this is the only role NIB will play in its rollout.
This is what we've been assigned so far. I can't speak specifically to what is going to happen later on. What we did want you to have a clear understanding of today, obviously, was the time frames that we're working with and also what facilitation measures we would be putting in place so that we can meet in a timely and efficient way the demands that we anticipate are going to come about when persons seek to sort out registration for the NHI program.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
State Minister for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez's resignation from cabinet is not a good sign of confidence in the Christie administration, according to Deputy Leader of the Free National Movement, Peter Turnquist, who suggested the resignation reflects badly on the Christie administration, noting that former Financial Services Minister Ryan Pinder also resigned from cabinet and 3 members of Parliament have quit the PLP. Turnquist said it raises questions as to what exactly is going on in the Christie cabinet.
Well, I think it certainly raises questions in the Bahamian people's mind as to exactly what's going on in the Christie cabinet. Certainly, it cannot be a good sign of confidence in the government when members of Parliament and ministers in particular resign. I think that no matter what explanations are given, the Bahamian people rightly have a question. Is there something else going on here?
Damian Gomez returned to cabinet yesterday. To explain his resignation to his colleagues. In an interview afterwards, Gomez said he was leaving for ethical reasons, but would not explain further. Turnquist said Gomez owes it to the Bahamian people to its...
We saw in the paper today that the minister said that he has a question in respect to an ethical conflict. Well, what exactly is that? I believe that he made a statement today in Parliament, but that was not clear, I believe, certainly not clear enough for my liking as to what he means by an ethical conflict. And I think he owes it to the Bahamian people. The government owes it to the Bahamian people to give a clearer explanation of exactly what is happening.
Gomez said despite his resignation, he continues to support Christie and the PLP. But in a statement, the F&M charged that in its opinion, Gomez has lost complete faith in the Prime Minister as the bridge to his political future. When asked about this, Turnquist said,
I can't say that, but it certainly appears that there is a question.
The deputy leader's comments come as the F&M once again called for an early election to bring an end to what it believes is an ineffective and visionless government that's imploding before our very eyes. In a statement, the F&M pointed to the recent resignation of Gomez as further evidence of Christie's weak and unproductive leadership, and applauded Gomez for unapologetically deciding to abandon Christie's chaotic sinking ship. Also taking note of Ryan Pinder's resignation from cabinet, the F&M said only 3 short years later, these next-generation leaders have lost complete faith in Prime Minister Christie as the bridge to their political futures. As a result, the deputy leader's comments come as the F&M once again called for an early election to bring an end to what it believes is an ineffective and visionless government that's imploding before our very eyes. Officers of the Selective Enforcement Team have arrested 3 men who police believe are the masterminds behind a string of armed robberies over the past several days. The latest of these armed robberies occurred shortly after 11 a.m. yesterday when 3 men in a black Honda CR-V robbed a woman walking on Wilton Street of her handbag and a cell phone. And a short while later, 3 men armed with handguns robbed the operator and a customer of a business establishment located on Charles W. Saunders Highway of an undetermined amount of cash and a cell phone before speeding off in a black CR-V. Police say an intense investigation was launched into these 2 incidents that resulted in officers from the Selective Enforcement Unit arresting 3 men at a home in Pinewood Gardens, where police recovered a handbag, a cell phone, and cash taken during the 2 armed robberies. 6 men and 2 women were also arrested at this home for robberies and discovered that the SUV was stolen from a woman during an armed robbery last Thursday. Police say they credit the success of this major breakthrough to excellent teamwork, precise execution of the policing plan, and support from members of the public. You're watching the best in Bahamian news. There's more when MV12 returns.